Run around, got a lot fools, and I still got the crown like a bad tooth. I am cool, I don't gotta act cool. Just follow where I lead you, pack mule. Blowing through the budget, the cash ain't nothing. The way I flip back, straight tens from the judges. Yeah, I'm the too big, can't flush it. Probably gotta plunge it. Word is, this 10 years in the making. Word is, I'm bringing home the bacon. Word is, they don't see what it take to make it, but the word on the streets, I make it look easy. Flattering, cool.
Hello again. I am making 2 videos in a single day. I don't think I'll be able to edit this in a single day. Just earlier today, this morning, I installed the public beta of iPadOS 26. Yeah, it's sort of become a yearly tradition for me right now to install public betas on my iPad and curse at the iPad for not being stable enough or crashing or me losing a few documents. I do this for myself, but it's enjoyable, and I think that's all that matters for now. I am a little off-center. So this is what I posted a few days ago. Past semester, this past month, I've been asking myself, why did I buy an iPad Pro M1 back in 2022, and then a case, and then a pencil, which all added roughly up to the price of a single MacBook Pro M2 at that time, or an M1 MacBook Pro, or even a MacBook Air. Why did I spend money on purchasing so many peripherals and so many things around an iPad when the iPad is not even a full OS? It's so limited and so lacking in its finesse in just doing daily tasks. Look at the image closer. Do you see where my wrists are? There is absolutely no chance for carpal tunnel or wrist pain, and I guess that's also why I wrote an entire freaking book in the library for 6 months in college with books, everything. It's so compact. This is the 11-inch version. It's so compact, and the writing position, the writing posture is so good. You just need a desk. Even if you don't have a desk, your lap just good enough, and you just write. And I think that's why I really bought the iPad, because if you're writing, like for me, when there was one particular point where I was doing redrafts, drafting the whole thing all over again, I wrote 10,000 words in a single day, and not once did I have wrist pain or whatever, nerve compression. I did not struggle with any of that. So I guess this video I'm going to be talking about how iPadOS 26 makes life for you as an author if you're looking to buy a device to write your first novel, or maybe your best-selling novel, because after all, it's a tool and you should get the best tool that's available. This video is all about just how the iPad feels now, and if you especially buy an iPad Air or a Pro with the keyboard. In fact, even the base iPad with the A16 chip should do just fine. Or this video, the points that I make should apply to that as well. I haven't played a lot with the new update. What I can say is that the menu bar on top is just so useful. It's just so, I don't need to Google search, what is the shortcut for this? How do I access this? And this menu bar is there in every app, and developers can use it to implement specific shortcuts or specific options. It just makes so much more sense having a menu bar. And the intuitiveness in which the menu bar has been kept, it's not something which is eating up your screen real estate. It's neatly tucked away and it hides automatically. It just makes so much more sense. I did open up Scrivener because I use Scrivener. I'm a big fan of Scrivener as a writing software. I did open up Scrivener, and right now the menu bar doesn't do much. I can't see any particular options. So the onus is on the developers to include options into the menu bar and utilize it to its fullest potential. But Scrivener is not one of them as yet, and a lot of other apps as well. This is a public beta build 1, so it's the first build, and it's expected that it's going to be very buggy. Not all apps have a menu bar that's usable. The next thing is the new windowing system. If you're like me, or if you're like any author or any writer, you know that you have at least a dozen tabs open in Safari or Chrome. Sometimes you just want your app visible. You don't want to open split screen. You don't want Safari to be open in split screen, or whatever writing platform you use. You just want it just there in the background. I know it's people would say, okay, so then why don't you just let it be in the background? Why does it have to occupy some real estate? I think there's a lot of creativity in messiness, and there's a lot of creativity which comes from messy windows on your laptop or desktop or iPad even now. So the windowing system helps with that compulsion or whatever. I mean, it just looks nicer than a split screen view. Stage Manager was a disaster. Like, even on the Mac, Stage Manager doesn't do much. I think they had a good idea, but the implementation was probably not the best. But the windowing system now makes it feel like a real operating system, a real Windows operating system. The windowing system is a great addition right now, especially if you're a writer and if you have multiple apps open and you just want to keep things in sight. This is something which will help you do that. Now, the next thing which is really cool is the new file system. It's not full Finder on iPadOS. I think we must just give up on that idea that we might get Finder. File system on iPad is very close to Finder. It is not something which needs an entire learning curve, that it's completely new. It's very familiar. All the buttons are where they should be. I think that's probably why they've been struggling with the iPad OS file system for some time now. But this time in iPadOS 26, they've maybe given up or relented and given us something very close to Finder. So if you've got attachments that you want to attach into your document as an author, maybe a photo, Finder, not Finder, but the new file system app makes it so much more easier to organize your files. And as a bonus, it always did this, but I find that the link with OneDrive or Google Drive or Dropbox or any other third-party storage server links with the file system app a lot better. It's more instantaneous, the changes. So it works very well. The next addition is Preview for iPad. Oh boy. Not that iPad's default PDF viewer was lacking in any way, but you now finally get really cool additions. Now, again, I have not completely experimented with everything that the Preview app on iPad offers. I am not yet sure as to whether it's like the Preview app on Mac does, but so far, from just an initial look around, it feels very similar. And gone are the days of me using Adobe Acrobat to open recently used files, or on Windows, for example, just going to Windows Explorer. It's great, but when you need something in a jiffy, it's a little tiresome to look for the exact thing, especially if you have a lot of subfolders. But right now, with Preview, especially on the iPad, the implementation where it's not just like it opens up when you open a PDF document or something, but it is a complete app in itself, and it has shortcuts. It has your recently used files. You can do that, and it's just so much better. And if you have an iPhone or an iPad or a Mac, you already have an iPad, but if you have a Mac or an iPhone and you use iCloud, I found that it does sync as well. I think that there's a good consolidation of all the features that a native Files app on on iPad offered, like scan documents, servers, and it also had the addition to combine multiple PDFs into a single PDF. So I think all of that is now consolidated into the Preview app. Now let's talk about something controversial. The new design. I would say that it's a hybrid between what iPadOS 18 already was, a very toned down, watered down version of iPadOS 26, especially the one they showed us at WWDC. Readability is just fine. It does blur a lot. Any element like Control Center is heavily blurred. I think a lot of people are not really happy about were especially not very happy about the battery life and heating. Liquid glass effects were being rendered in real time. So it did take a hit in the battery life and it did take a hit in performance. Maybe all in all, it wasn't as revolutionary as Tim Cook thought it was. I expect that at some point they're going to reverse and be like, oh yeah, this is our identity. This is going to be the future of our OSs. For now, it's not that bad to look at. That it doesn't feel any different. Sure, the app icons have changed and there is a bit of a gloss over them, so it's not as sharp, tack sharp. So I think that does it for this video. Just wanted to look at some of the best features of iPadOS 26 specifically for authors and how it might help the workflow of authors. Do you think you should buy an iPad as your primary device to write your books on? It's complex. It's not a straight yes, nor is it a straight no. Because there are things which the iPad does incredibly well, which very few other computers do, like the extremely comfortable writing posture, the fact that you could sit on it for as long as you want and write however much you want. I think a competing product would be the Surface Pro series. If you're used to iPads, if you're used to the Apple ecosystem and you already have a few Apple products, you could try out. And if it's the first time you're buying an iPad, you could try with the base iPad. For me, it fits into all the magazine pockets in cars, so I don't even need to carry a bag, magazine pocket, and I'm good to go. For the iPad right now, it's the form factor which is going for it. It has an incredible form factor. It is not the lightest, nor is it the thinnest when you include a keyboard case. But the overall package of being about the size of a small notebook, especially if you're in India, you know the notebook I'm talking about. And it's not the thickest. More than anything else, it is also, if you are for iPadOS, if you already have a workflow, it's great. But if you're not, switching over might take a learning curve. At the end of the day, does iPadOS 26 make this more compelling than an iPad Pro or an iPad Air with iPadOS 18? The previous update? In a sense, yes. I think that right now it's a lot closer to being a full desktop operating system, but it is not a replacement. I think we all are looking at the iPad as a replacement. It's a great secondary device. So for me, that has been my Windows laptop, and it has also been the Mac Mini as my desktop for YouTube videos and editing that. But if I just want to take something light to write to a coffee shop, that I just carry my phone, my wallet, maybe an earpod, and just an iPad. So it is not a replacement, but an additional device. I think that's the sort of mentality you might need to have. And even being in college, as a college student, you can read handouts by your professor, you can read books. If you have the Kindle app, you have Apple Books, which supports EPUB. That's it for this video. I'll see you guys in the next video. See you. Ow, shit. I'll attach a few videos downstairs. I mean, not downstairs. What's the thing below the video? Description.